So when I started to work with the first artwork about corals, I wanted to create a speculative healing media art work to heal the reefs through sound. I recorded shamans in Peru, in South Korea and Japan. And then together with the TU, with the university in Berlin, Technische Universität, and actually the Bifold, which is the research hub for machine learning and big data, we created these algorithms which are called techno-shamans, right? And they're algorithms trained on this shamanistic music and rituals. Depending on how the condition of the reefs are, there is a techno-shaman that sings a ritual for the coral. So if they are good, they sing a happy ritual. If they are not doing well, they sing a healing ritual. If they are doing really bad and they're bleached, it's more of a dead ritual, so they say goodbye to it. And then while I was doing the research for the corals, the coral techno-shamans, I find out that actually scientists were doing in real life what my speculative artwork was trying to do, metaphorically. This was Timothy Lamont from Lancaster University.
One of the things that gets me really excited is what a coral reef sounds like. And that's because coral reefs have all sorts of amazing animals living on them. Hear all these weird and wonderful sounds when you swim around on a coral reef. So here's some sound recordings. So up first, this is called an ambon damselfish, and it makes a sound that sounds a bit like this. Here's one called the reef croaker. So this one lives at the bottom of a reef and it tends to hide away in caves. It's a bit secretive, but you hear it quite a lot and it makes this sound. And then the clownfish, the nose-striped clownfish, it bangs its teeth together and it makes this sound. So together, all of those sounds create what we call the coral reef soundscape.
And when you were listening for the first time to a healthy coral reef, what were your impressions?
Well, I thought it was, it sounds very funny, actually, right? The first time you listen to it. And it's more of it sounds like a sausage or sound, right? They just hang out, they survive, they eat each other, they make love, they chit-chat, they talk. It's like having a coffee in Sicily, on a Tuesday afternoon, I guess.
A lot of coral reefs, as you'll have heard, are damaged. And that means that as marine biologists and as marine scientists, we have a challenge to try and understand how to best rebuild these coral reef ecosystems. We ask the question, well, how can you bring fish back to a reef? If the reef's been damaged and all the fish have gone away, then you replant the coral and you grow the coral back, but how can you get the fish to come back? And we thought the answer might lie in these sounds that I was playing before. It turns out that fish are really attracted by the sounds of other fish. So what we did is we thought, well, what if you could play the sounds of a healthy coral reef to attract fish back to an area that you were rebuilding and restoring?
So they record the soundscape of healthy reefs in multiple locations, and then they play those sounds back into degraded colonies using underwater loudspeakers like the one that we have here, right? So inspired by the research of Timothy, then I created a work which is based on his research, but is using sound art as a regenerative idea, right? So we created sculptures out of ceramic and calcium carbonate. We put loudspeakers on top, and then engineers from Berlin, they built a solar power station that floats above the artwork and collects, solar energy and transforms it into electricity, and it powers the underwater sound system, right? When the organisms attracted by the sound are coming back to the reefs, they don't find a desolated ecosystem, like a dead ecosystem, but they find something that they can rebuild their future in, In this case, the ceramic and calcium carbonate sculptures, they're the same material of corals, they reflect the natural composition of corals. So, and they are done in a way that they can enter from the top and then live inside, like making eggs. So they are thought to be, a shelter. What I'm trying to do, is thinking about the reef as a public square, right? Where you actually install a public artwork for the community, and this community can do whatever they want with it. And you can see it, like, when they start, they are like this, they are white, right?
Yeah.
So they are completely an incubator or something for nature to deal with. So the fishes and the microorganisms and the shrimps, and the sharks. Sometimes, I saw sharks around there. They come back,
So when we didn't play any sounds and we just left it as a quiet open ocean, we got about 25 fish coming back. But when we played the sounds, we called that acoustic enrichment, and we got twice as many fish coming back to those reefs.
So we had great result on this, but then the temperatures, they rise in the last weeks of the experiment, and some of the corals, they actually died. So in a way, we are making really huge progress on one part of the research, with sound being, a catalyst of ecological resilience, right? Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, still, like human activities and whatever we do, it still has a big impact, like rising sea temperatures, they do not forgive, and they're like around the corner all the time. We have been seeing it in the last few years, right? So great results on one side, really sad on the other side, because we cannot do anything about coral bleaching using sound.
Yeah, so the fish are coming, but if the temperature is just rising and rising, then
the corals will still bleach,
Yeah.
What is the hope for the project is then it speeds up so much, the recovery, that then they somehow becomes more resilient to the high temperatures. We should first start, to do what we are not very good at, and shut up and listen for a second. When you actually give a voice to the more than human community, you create an empathic feeling to what's the human communities, to create some sort of relationship, right? That it gets us closer and closer and closer to nature, right? When you start to give voice to all these species, you are actually able to create some sort of common language that humans can create a connection with, right? And so, in an utopian future, from my point of view, sound can actually become a very useful and primary resources to create coexistential empathic strategies between, the more than human community and the human community, because there is no them without us and vice versa. We need to start understanding that we need them